Hello, everybody. Buddy Web, Midland, Texas. I got a little interesting Facebook post I created tonight that is really just like a evidence list, and but it tells a story, and and when you're done going through it, looking at what other people say, what other people recorded saying, not me, other people, okay, and it's a whole bunch of other people and their statements and the maps and all the thing we look at. It's real clear. It's easy to see. Hey, there is an underground home in the backyard, and there are multiple crimes that happen here. It was connected. There was a tunnel going over to Home Depot store over there. It's real easy to see what's going on here. Okay, so anyway, let me start it here. As basically I got this write up, but I'm going to skip that and I'm just going to go straight to the comments. And the reason I did is because I copy and pasted them down here and then put the evidence backing them up. Okay. So like this one says, I recorded a phone call where I was told there were 4 3-bedroom $1 million underground homes here that were buried at least 25 foot deep. She said they were having pedophile parties down there. This is now posted in video, so it's not a he said, she said. And the link is $1 million underground facilities. We're not going to play it, but you can get off my YouTube and you can see the name of it right there if you want to. Here, I want to switch this to all comments. Okay. The next one, Ricky Ranaldo told me that him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under my home when they lived here. Okay, and he said I used to live in that house years ago, and then he comes down here when I was a kid. There are tunnels under the house. Me and my brother would always go down there. Okay, so law enforcement could talk to Ricky and his brother, right? I mean, if they wanted to, and that's just now. I mean, we're barely getting started here. Barely getting started. Okay. CAD Programmer Layla Obrian told me that she worked on this underground safe house project that was completed in 1987 at a cost of $7.35 million on permit. She said it was called the Safe House Project and was put in for the bushes. I have print screens and recordings of Layla, and what I included was this of Layla Obrian, Layla Gale Obrian. I went and found her on LinkedIn. She is a CAD programmer. She did work for PVK. That was the company that built it. She's telling me right here, 7.35 mil, and I say miles, and she says million on permit. That was the cost of the underground project right there, $7.35 million. Well, on permit. She said, well, that why don't we go pull the permits, right? Well, that's the next one here. Julia Weidman drove down from Dallas and met with the city of Midland to see the permits that Layla had talked about, but she was told by James Rawls that all of the records had been accidentally deleted in 2014. I have an email that she sent me this story. Okay, so here's her name. It's Julia Weidman right here, and here's the date on it right here, November 22nd. And you can see here she's saying James Raw was clearly prepared to tell me about the missing records. And when I asked him about the permit records for storm shelters in Midland, he, with a smile, told me that all of the permit records prior to 2015 had been destroyed or lost due to an attempt to digitize the department's records in 2014-15. And see, I work for IT. I was already disabled by 2014, 2015, but we knew about backups a long time ago, and them are government required records. It's just absurd to say you lose all the records and you don't have a backup. That don't even make any sense at all. Not to me as an IT person, unless it's just great fault. Unless they were wanting to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? When I brought up the subject of the basement at Home Depot, it clearly unnerved him, but he was downright gloating about those missing records. That's what Julia Weidman said about when she met at the city of Midland with James Rawls. And I found out, I Googled James Rawls. He used to work for Home Depot. Ain't that interesting? What a small world. During the election for Midland Sheriff, I secretly recorded Joe Lozano telling me that the underground homes were the hideout for the late Sheriff Gary Painter. Huge, huge news right there. That was the late Gary Painter. Here's the link to the video here. Sheriff Painter's hideouts on my YouTube channel. We're not going to play it. It just take too long. But it's there. Google Maps was showing a large building in my backyard on the map screen that wasn't seen on the sat screen or from above ground. I contacted the city and said multiple people are documented saying that underground homes are here, and supporting evidence was found on old Google Maps on Google Maps. About a week later, this was deleted from Google Maps. I have print screens and video showing this too. So now I say it was found on old Google Maps. Back then it was just Google Maps, because what you do is you just go to use my address and you just go to Google Maps, and there's my home right there, and there's my backyard. Well, here on the map screen showed the big building in my backyard, but it didn't show it above ground. And so that's obviously one of the 4 underground homes that was told about on the recorded phone call, etc. Okay, one of the underground homes is in my backyard, $1 million underground homes. That's my property, by the way, because it's on my property. I have another print screen where a woman told me that word around town is there's an underground game room where all the high rollers go. I kept this lady anonymous for her safety. Okay, and it's right here. It was same thing. There's a game room here that all the high officials go to, and bet money, and win money and whatever else is they do down there. Wink, 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 like in prostitution. That's what she's saying, right? Organized prostitution. I mean, this organized crime is what this is. Tisha Brumley told me that her sister used to go to the oil show parties and confirm they were in the underground homes. Okay, well, let's see what it says here. Tisha, talking to me, says, I've had friends been involved in those oil show parties. They're exactly what you say. They are underground homes. My sister used to do the oil show parties. I got close to them before she shut that down. That's what Tisha told me. So she confirmed they're in the underground homes. I already knew that. Nice to have confirmation. Jessica Bradley said there was more than one girl that was raped or murdered at the oil show parties. See, Angie told me about a girl murdered at a 2010 oil show party, and it was 5 minutes from my house. So, but I don't have proof of that, so it's not in this list. You just have to take my word for it. I've been to 2,000 oil shows, and I'll tell you what, there's more than one that was just murdered or raped because she didn't do whatever they wanted her to do. So we'll take Jessica's word for it, because we got a print screen saying it. And from what looked like a tunnel ditch that was cut coming out of the back of Home Depot and aimed directly at my house. Okay. I showed this to Homeland Security in July 2019. 2 weeks later, the ground was dug up and concrete was poured there. I got this on video. I believe this tunnel, I'm going to show you here, that was on the Google Earth Maps here. It's easier to see. And right here, you can see where the concrete's cut, or where the asphalt was cut, aimed directly at my house. And that's where it's believed this tunnel's at. That's where it's back there. And that's what I showed to Homeland Security. Here's where I believe this tunnel is. I found it on Google Earth Maps right here. And 2 weeks later, they're digging up the ground, pouring concrete. I got it on video right there. Amazing. Because I believe that was the tunnel that was used by that girl that was murdered. Forced prostitution murder. Homeland's supposed to stop human trafficking. And they're here forcing little girls to murder, organized prostitution, forced prostitution, murder, everything else. And I guess Homeland's covering up for them. Another guy told me that he asked his friend about the basement under the Home Depot store, and she warned him. It's dangerous. Talk about that. I have a print screen showing this. Okay. I mentioned a basement under Midland Home Depot to a girl I know. Her first response was, "How do you know this? Be careful who you're telling this to and how that's dangerous. You need to be careful who you're talking to about that." So I know she knows. That's what he told me. So I know she knows. I got it. I got the full screen. I just have his name anonymous on that for his own safety. Flo Rivas told me that her son and his friends heard kids under the bathroom floor of the Home Depot store by the bathrooms. The bathrooms are right next to where the suspected tunnel is located. I have a print screen for this. Okay, let's see what Flo said. Flo said, my son works at Home Depot, and his co-workers heard kids underneath the bathroom floor. That bathroom is right there where that tunnel entrance is coming to my house. Okay. Sylvia Flores told me that when she went to Midland High Lee, that the kids would talk about tunnel parties behind the Home Depot. I have a print screen for this. Let's see what it says. So, Buddy Wayne, 1990, when I first heard the kids at Lehigh talking about going behind Home Depot to party, I never went because they said it was a ditch. Scary. Scary. Okay. Lance Eggleston told me, says, we have access to your residence at all times. Nobody will ever believe your story. You'll be silenced, not if, but when. So you think old Lance knows where the tunnel is? I bet he does, doesn't he? Since he has access to it, since he's going to come murder me in it, right? Remember, we know who you are. We know where you sleep. We have access to your residence at all times. No one will ever believe your story. We'll come again. You will be silenced, not if, by when. You know, this was after I had survived a murder attempt. I got that from this guy. And I got a death threat today, actually. Today. That's the guy told me to quit posting or I was going to be murdered. You know, I mean, it was pretty plain cut, you know. Here's another one. And Aaron Peckelhofer told me that 4 people had been murdered, died at my home before me. I found evidence that has convinced me the young previous owner of my home was killed here and then taken to Fort Worth the week before the 2008 oil show started. I believe the oil show parties were held in underground homes. And here's the print screen from Aaron. He says, I'm well aware of the many corruption accusations against the Midland Police. I'm not so sure it's secret police as much as it is just pure criminal activity by the police. But if I can ask, there were 4 people who were murdered, died in your house. What are their names? You know, 4 people murdered, died in my house. You know, obviously he knows the names, right? Mike Lawson was telling his friends that people were breaking in this home before he died. That's the previous owner of my home. I had burglar alarms going off on the night they shot me. You know, here he is. He's the young previous owner. He died right before I moved here, and they told me it was an accident. I just feel sure they killed him. I mean, they tried to kill me. It's pretty obvious. Whoever tried to kill me is who killed Mike. And then I think they took Mike killed him here and took him to Fort Worth, you know. But he was reporting the same crimes I was. He figured out somebody was breaking into this house, and I bet you he was trying to stop them, you know. I mean, that just makes sense, you know. And that's what I was doing when they cut my phone lines and shot me, and now I'm crippled for life. In January, and he's dead, you know. In January 2012, I reported a suspected tunnel to the DEA, but they didn't look. 2 weeks later, I was ambushed and shot by somebody in my home with my phone lines cut, burglar alarms going off the attic. Imagine me having to tell people that. You know how crazy that sounds? That's a crazy story. I'm the first to admit that's a crazy story. I'm just thankful for the proof, you know. But here, it says proof has now been found showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. That means it's a murder attempt. I mean, somebody come to my home and shot me. I mean, just one little statement, all that proof, that's what that means. And 50 other homeowners have been documenting reporting people in the attic, more than a dozen in Midland, another dozen in Odessa. This is going on all over the place, hidden from the public by the police and press. It's not uncommon at all, and that's the tip of the iceberg. I got a couple of proof videos, proof that I was not shot with my gun, and people in the attic 2-minute video there, and to back up what I just said. But see, just that little short list, it's real easy to tell that hey, you know, there is an underground home in the backyard. It was connected to that Home Depot tunnel. They were having oil show parties. They did murder that little girl at the oil show party. They did murder the last guy, and then they tried to murder me. And we have a massive corruption problem, and that's what's going on. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.